Excellencies, dear delegates, distinguished guests, colleagues from our center and related agency, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure for me to welcome you all to the AHAckathon 2021 competition. I'm very glad to acknowledge the delegates and the colleagues from AHA Center and every young people joining us today. Let me start by congratulating AHA Center for the successfully organizing the Humanitarian and Emergency Logistic Innovation Expo, or HALEX, which aimed to provide a platform for commercial, non-profit, research, and academic institutions to the opportunity to show their products, service, best practice in the humanitarian, logistic, and related field. With number of participants, bold idea, but yet practical and promising, highly proved itself a platform for promoting emergency innovation to address challenges in humanitarian logistics in ASEAN region. A platform for networking among humanitarian logistic practitioners, vendors, and suppliers, and the wider humanitarian community in the region. As we all know, every year Southeast Asia always experiences many types of disaster such as thunderstorm, flood, earthquake, landslide, forest fire, epidemics, etc., which severely affected people's lives as well as the economy of the countries. Besides that, many countries in the Southeast Asia are also located in the Asia-Pacific region of fire, which every year suffer from dozens of storm and thunderstorm of disaster from many different types of disaster. In the context of global climate change, natural disaster in ASEAN countries in general, and in Vietnam in particular, are happening in a quite abnormal and extreme manner, becoming more unpredictable and tend to continue with increasing intensity. They are also causing catastrophic and fatal damage. Therefore, we must work together to find solutions to proactively prevent the impact of natural disaster. In particular, scientific and technological solutions are a wise choice, attracting the attention of students about information technology. AHAckathon is a key event of HALEX, an initiative of AHA Center to capture the latest advancement and innovation in the humanitarian logistic and supply chain management. AHAckathon is also privileged competition to develop software or code to solve society problems. In this case, challenges faced by ASEAN government in humanitarian logistics. The team competing will propose software or apply application-based solution to the identified problem in humanitarian logistics. During the actual AHAckathon, all team will have enough time to finish the application, and the best application solution will be announced on October 13. Even though there was difficulty due to COVID-19 pandemic, but thanks to the tireless effort from AHA Center and VDMA ourselves, and the burning passion from the participant, you all, we make it happen today. Vietnam Disaster Management Authorities is leading a government agency who in charge with the task on the prevention and control of natural disaster in Vietnam. Along our challenging journey, ASEAN in general and AHA Center in particular has always been a reliable companion to share, support, and jointly respond to us with human strength and resource when needed. According to the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, this year's theme for the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction, October 13, is focused on Objective F of the Sendai Framework, substantially enhance international cooperation to developing countries through adequate and sustainable support to complement their national action for implementation of present framework by 2030. This is the reason why AHAckathon is valuable. It creates a platform for you, the young and students from different regions and countries, to drown your passion, explore your mind, to bring out creative idea for developing hardware, process, software or code to solve society problems faced by Asian countries, including Vietnam, in supply chain management and emergency logistics, especially in the context of responding to the dual challenges, disaster and pandemic. It is the place to nurture your dreams, form a solid base to contribute to reduce disaster effects, create a safer society for everyone and every country in the future. Last but not least, I want to express my gratitude once again to everyone who participated. Your enthusiasm is incredibly inspiring and true testament to the impact youth have on our world. Thank you for being brave enough to share your brilliant idea with our community. Thank you very much.
Bitte. Good morning and welcome back to day 2 of the AHAckathon. Thank you for those kind words. We're very happy to have VNDMA as part of this event, and we're looking forward to now continue the day with you. And I want to give you a quick introduction on what's going to happen today. So let's take a quick look at the agenda. And I also invite my colleague Toby on stage, who will give us a little introduction. So this morning, besides this welcome, and we will show you, as yesterday, what are the things that are due for today in terms of the methods that you're going to use and the steps that you take. And then we will hand over to Risti, who will give you in detail description of the jury criteria, because it's important to know what they will be looking for your work throughout the day, and also for tomorrow. After that, we will have a quick Q&A, so if you have not yet submitted your questions via the link that Johannes sent you in the announcements, please do so, and then we will go back in your teamwork. Your coaches will do a quick warm-up with you, and then you will continue what you did yesterday with the user research. You will start talking to users, doing interviews, then you bring that all together. Important note, because after that we have a lunch, and we said with the user research you can do it a little more flexible, so that you have more time, because the expert users, we have only a selected number of them, so to give you more chances to talk to them, we will keep the lunch times a little flexible, so you can arrange that together with your coach. And after that we go into the ideation, and then at the end of the day we really start prototyping, and then you prepare also the testing, and important is for tonight, it's open-end, so you can keep on prototyping as long as you want. So because this is a hackathon as well, so we wanted to give you more time for the actual coding or creating kind of at least clickable prototypes and stuff. And with that I will hand over to Toby to show you a little what is the plan for today.
Perfect, thank you so much. So today, or let us start with yesterday. Yesterday you already dig a little bit deeper with your team in your challenge, and also you brought your focus into one main point. You want now to go into the researches, right? And you also thought about what kind of target audiences and user groups you have inside of your challenge. And with that now, and with your already defined questions, it is the starting for today for you to go to these users, to these target audiences, and to talk with them. And for that you will find here on the Mural board a section where you can write down all your notes. So for that you just create sticky notes, place them in the dedicated fields, so you can see we have here several columns and fields for your different interviews. We also, if you didn't do it by yourself, we have here some hints for you what you can ask, and what I already told you yesterday, also focus on the why. So try to dig deeper to really understand what are the needs of these users. But we also give you the time, and Michael, maybe you can scroll down a little bit, to do a desk research. That means, of course, it is also for you interesting and important to make some researches by yourself. And you also have, maybe from the interviews you did yesterday with the experts, maybe received already some resources. You have the time today as well to dig there more deeper to get a better understanding around your challenge. And with all these information, it is now then to synthesize it, because you have now several interviews, you have several insights from your users, you have your desk research, so we want now to synthesize them. In the design thinking process, we are talking about converging. And for that as well, we give you here a guidance, and in this guidance you are seeing that you can create personas. And also based, of course, on the users you interviewed. And when we zoom in here a little bit deeper, what we have, first of all, we have here the name, age, the occupation, also the key insights. So which kind of key insights you created in your interviews, what you found out, but also what are the pain points of these users. That is also really, really interesting, because for you, when you're looking later into the solution space, into the ideation, you will try to solve these pain points. And maybe you already heard from them also wishes and goals they try to achieve. All of that can help you for the ideation, of course. But what's also important, to not lose the focus of the human being behind all these pain points, wishes, and key insights. Also write down some quotes that helps you to connect to these people. And at the very end, after you make this synthesis, you find the so-called point of view. The point of view will help you to focus all the time when you're going to ideation and prototyping, what you try to achieve. How does it look like? So first of all, write down the user. For instance, Michael needs something. He needs something in a way too. What is the need and why he has this need? So what you try to formulate in one sentence is to integrate the user, the need, and the insight behind the need. And with this sentence, or this sentence will guide you through the ideation and prototype phase. And with that, we are coming to the ideation. I will go back behind the scenes because I will prepare our next speaker. See you later.
So the next phase is really the ideation. So this is the point in the process that comes very natural to a lot of us because now we can finally start to think about how can we solve the problem, to all the ideas. Because in a traditional way, and as you learn in school, you get a problem and then you directly kind of come up with a solution. And in design thinking, we try to stop this process and first try to understand the problem in much more detail, and then also find our focus. And that was our point of view that you wrote in the first part. So this is the place where you kind of just summarize and repeat what you did up to now. So bring in your challenges that you selected yesterday, and then also bring in the point of view that you will create by the end by today, and then this point of view, usually it can be a little broad. So we gave you here the tool to think of, okay, what are kind of the subcategories or the aspects in this point of view, because if you make that very specific, then you can think about solutions for a specific area, and then with the whole set of solutions for multiple aspects, you can see which ones are easily combinable. And I like to take the example, for example, from product design. If you have an electrical toothbrush, you have the handle, or a general toothbrush, you have the handle and you have the head, and you can kind of, for both of those things, you can have different solutions. So they can all have different shapes, different materials, and you can look at them individually because they have a different focus, right? For the toothbrush, it's more about the cleaning aspects, and for the handle, it's more the ergonomics. And there are special things like from OXO for people with handicaps that are very easy to grip, and the head might still look the same like a regular one. So this is the way that you separate your point of view into sub aspects, and then you can think about the individual parts of it and how you can solve it, and then you bring it all together, and then kind of you select what you want to take for the prototyping. And then you also want to prepare for your testing. So you can already start a little with prototyping, but before you go into the night and do the extensive prototype, think about, okay, whom do you show that to, right? And that does not have to be a ready-made app, but you can also already validate, okay, this is how we understood your problem, and this is our idea how we do it. That can even be kind of a paper scribble or something, but you get very early feedback on how to actually implement it, and what works for the users and how they understand what you want to do, which will also be very important for the jury, because you need to explain what you're doing in a easy way, easy to understand way. So this is kind of what is your idea, what are the elements, and what does your user need, and then you create your test plan. So again, like very similar to the interview, you think about, okay, with whom are we testing, where can we meet them, when can we schedule the time, and what will we ask them. So you create a script. And also, if you want to show your solution in the context, then a storyboard is a very good way to do that, but that your coach will help you with that. And then we're at the end of the day, and as mentioned, you can go on through the night with the actual refining of the prototype, and then tomorrow you will do the testing before you go into pitch. Okay, with that, I think we're at the end of the input, and we can hand over to Risti for the jury criteria.
Hello, very good morning, everyone, experts, coaches, and participants. We are now in day 2. I believe it is more and more exciting now. And I can see that some of teams have been progressing a lot. I can see that some of you also have started since the early morning today. I can see your spirit. Now, I would like to remind you all again about what is the judging criteria for this whole hackathon. If you have yet checked the document, you can download it from ahacenter.org/ahackathon. Okay, I believe that you have known the judging criteria. There are 5 criteria. One is the fit for purpose design. It will be 30%. And then the second one, innovativeness, 20%. Sustainability, 20%, scalability 15%, and the social pitch 15%. Now let's take a look one by one about it. Fit for purpose. What is it about? So your innovation provides the innovation that you are building now. It should be suitable or fit for the purpose of the supply chain and humanitarian logistic problems. So you can see that the keyword is the fit for purpose. The problem statement, you need to check it very carefully so that you can identify whether your idea is viable in the ASEAN context and also can solve the problem statements. The second, innovativeness. It's about all innovative. Your idea, your product, it should be original. You need to be creative. So we will look for your originality of the idea. It should be the unconventional. It should be out of the box. And most important thing, it should add value to the existing ecosystem. So again, the innovativeness will score you 20%. And the third one is the sustainability. So you will need to think about the green environment here. Not only about that, you need also to think about the continuity. So meaning that it can be used or managed in the long term, cost efficient, and environmentally friendly, or reduce the use of the energy. And then the other criteria is the scalability. It will score you 15%. What is it about? Now, maybe you develop it for small, and you will need to think also that your idea can be enlarged, can be scaled up, can be duplicated, can be replicated. It can be scaled up or it can be scaled down, depend on the needs. So the keyword here, it can be expanded to different use of context, such as geographical area. So perhaps now you are thinking about one country of the ASEAN, or later on, if we want to scale it, we can scale it into the ASEAN context to the 10 countries, or even further, can be used largely for the humanitarian context. And then the other keywords here, it can be further developed or enhanced. So maybe now you develop one module with one or two functions, and later on you will need to think that your idea can be developed with more contents or more function. And again, the other keywords here is about the volume and the users. Maybe now you are thinking about 100 users, or maybe the volume of the data only like 1,000 rows. But you will need also to consider that your innovation can be used for the larger volume of data and larger numbers of the users. And the last, the social pitch, 15%. So this is all about on how you deliver your presentation, on how you convince the judges and also the visitors, the audience about your idea, on how you can make a storytelling from your idea so we can buy it. So that's all about the 5 criteria. One is fit for purpose design, 30%, innovativeness, 20%, sustainability, 20%, scalability, 15%, and social fit, 15%. So hacker, coder, innovator, good luck. Looking forward to seeing your innovation. Happy hackathon.
So welcome back for the Q&A, and thank you for submitting the questions via the Slido tool. If you have more questions during the Q&A, please keep posting them. We have a couple of minutes to address them. And Toby will join me now with his second coffee, because it's still very early and dark outside, as you can see in Germany here.
Exactly. Here I am. So we were thinking we wanted to invite you to our coffee table after. For us it's really early, but for you it's still also morning. So we were thinking we can have a breakfast together while we were answering your question, and I think we already have some.
Yeah. So the first question that you asked is, hello, must we basically create an app? If not, what are the alternatives?
Interesting question. What do you think about that? Do they have to create an app?
Well, the whole hackathon is focused on app, but what do you mean with create? So in a hackathon with just 2 days, you will not be able to create a full production-ready application. And as you've seen with kind of all the process we're going through, we want to make sure that you solve a relevant problem. That's why we let you kind of talk to experts and users. And so in the end, you should have an idea for an app, and you should also be able to communicate how it looks like, or how it, at least how it works. And if I say looks like, it's more kind of the interaction flow and maybe some of the data aspects. But if you go on kind of easy prototyping tool, or even a pen and paper prototype that is able to show in the end how the app would work, that is sufficient, because we also have teams that don't even have developers in them. So they don't have the capability to really develop the app. Of course, if you have a coder-heavy team and you have a lot of experience and you already have your frameworks ready, you also can create an app. And if you have some challenges that kind of have already existing data interfaces, then part of your team might also already look in those aspects and test out functional things. And maybe that's something that we did not talk about in the research today and in the prototyping. Those are the phases where you really can also separate out in the team in smaller sub-teams. Some of the team can talk to the experts and the users, and other teams could do more desk research and then look into the documents, check out the data. So think about in your team on how to do that.
Yeah. So maybe also what is interesting for me in this question, and we should maybe also talk about that, is because what I can read here out is does it has to be an app, or can it also be like a solution that goes in a completely different direction that is not an app, basically?
Yeah, do you have an example on that? Or?
Yeah, so maybe it can be when we are looking into the logistics of humanitarian crisis, right? It can be also like that they have a solution or an idea that is not related to something into digitalization. So it can be also more like maybe how they create a new hub that has no app.
Yeah, so some solutions really, I think the focus of the hackathon was really looking into digital solutions, but sometimes you come up with kind of process improvements or other things that are also very relevant. Yeah, we need to see how that works out then with the jury. But if you talk about an app, don't only think about mobile app, because if you have kind of a decision maker or a person that is working in logistics, they may also be sitting on a desktop, and also the amount of information that they need to process will be too much to be handled on the mobile, and they don't need that because they might be on their desk. So think the term app a little more broad, so it's kind of all the application, not only thinking about mobile apps.
Yeah, maybe also to mention out again to you, you are seeing on the left-hand side of you a QR code. You can scan that, and if you scan that, you have the opportunity even to send us new questions, and we have the opportunity to even show them inside of the screen, because at the moment we have 3 questions. We covered now already 1. And we would love to see a little bit more questions we can cover here. And I think you already put the link to the Slido into the Discord chat, right? Into the Org chat or the
yeah, Johannes posted that in the announcements this morning. So if you have a question, just go there. and post it, or now you should also see on the screen, you should see the QR code. You can just use your mobile and scan that and send in another question.
I have another question. Do we have the floatometer? We need time boxing here.
Oh, we need time boxing.
We need time boxing so that you have the time also for your hackathon already, and that we are not spending all the time on the Q&A. We have 10 minutes left? 16 minutes left. We have 16 minutes for the Q&A. So please feel free to ask.
Yeah, and if we don't need all the time, then we'll give it back to you and you can start your teamwork earlier. Good, let's go to the next question. Should the proposed idea be based on AHA center operations, or can we use any humanitarian or national agency? Because sometimes they have their own approaches. That's a difficult one for us to answer. That's the nice thing about having Discord in the background and being able to chat with the team on the side. So Gainer's answers was not necessarily. So if you have a challenge that is related to another agency and you have kind of also insights in how this agency works, and you get more, maybe also have more contact for your user research and the testing and stuff like that, then feel free to use that as well, because that also, the solution itself might also be interesting for the AHA Center, and they might also be able to adapt maybe parts of it. Okay, now the coffee machine's cleaning. I hope you don't hear that. Yeah, I hope that answers this question.
Yeah, I think so.
And we have a last one. So why do we need to use design thinking? So why did the AHA Center choose to bring that methodology into their hackathon? And do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So design thinking is an approach that is helping us to solve complex problems. And I just had yesterday, after our hackathon, a training with energy experts from all around the world, and we were also discussing around that question, why do we need design thinking? And like I already just mentioned, when we are working in complex problems, and what are complex problems? So complex problems are problems where we know we have a problem, but we don't know what kind of solution we have and what kind of way to the solution we have to go. And for that, design thinking got invented, and design thinking is helping us to focus in the problem space. And this is what we are doing right now and already yesterday. So we are spending a lot of time to understand the problem, to create also as a team a common understanding what we try to achieve, but also of course to create an understanding to our target audiences and the users itself. We try to create empathy with them, to really understand their needs and to bring them together to a point of view. That is what we just talked and told you in front of this the green screen. And after we created this really good understanding in the problem space, we are able to tackle the solution space. Then we have all this information to understand what we have to do, what kind of solutions we need, but we are also doing it in a diverging way. As a team, we are creating as many as possible ideas, because when we have a lot of ideas, there is a bigger chance that there is this one gold nugget that will solve the problem, that indicates also the user needs as well. Right? We always try to bring the user needs into our main focus. This is also why when we are doing prototypes, the prototypes is not about to sell our solution after we present it to the users or the target audiences. What we try to achieve is to get feedback, because with this feedback we have the opportunity to evolve our prototype and our solution, to make it even better, or maybe our users are telling us that it is and that we are going in the completely wrong direction, and we find this also in a kind of fast way. And this is why we are using design thinking also in this kind of hackathon, because it is a really fast approach to achieve as an interdisciplinary team really fast results. And what do you think? Does it cover the question, or did I forget something?
Yeah, I think it's covered it very good. I wanted to make some more comments on kind of the empathy, because yesterday or today you will go into kind of your user research, and of course that is a little downside of kind of this digital approaches. We have a lot of advantages. We can bring you together from a lot of countries here in one event, but in a real project or in a physical event, you would have sometimes the chance to go out and really talk to the users on the street and understand what their surroundings also look like, and when we call this observation, and sometimes we even go and at our customers we work with them for 2 or 3 days in a specific role, so it would be a total different experience to sit in kind of the disaster management logistics center or in the office where the coordination is with the people who are actually doing it and see how they do it day by day. But of course this is not possible in such a short time, but that gives you a lot more insights, and there is so much that you can also pick up from the way they work, the tools that they use, the processes, the communication. So in a real bigger project, design thinking has so much more than we can show you here in those 2.5 short days.
Yeah, great. And I also see, I think Gano wants to give us some information that we should share with you. So, like I think she already mentioned yesterday, it would be also great if you also send us some pictures of your workspace. We already did it by ourselves yesterday as well, not just here in the screening, but after a hackathon it would be also great just to really share with the world what we did in which way, because this is like a specific situation. We are all separated on different parts in the world, but we are working together in this kind of interesting way, right? And for that we would be really appreciating it if you would send us some pictures of your workspace. We will also do that.
Yeah, and also send, use the social media channels. Post your work results if your teams are okay with it. Post maybe pictures from your Discord meetings. Maybe you can also do some kind of funny pictures, and but also show some serious work, so that kind of this event reaches more people, and it's visible what good things we can do if we come together to solve problems in the humanitarian logistics area.
Yeah. That was the last question or the last comment. So
yeah, that was the last question. So if you don't have any more, I think
I have more questions.
You have more questions.
I have always more questions. So, but please feel free. There's coming one more question, I think.
There is now. That's probably also from the team. So for if you do social media postings, please use the hashtags AHAckathon and one ASEAN, one response, and AHA Center, so that the social media teams can also track what is going on, who are posting, and then we can repost it on the official channels. And also feel free to use the hashtag Impact Week in addition, so because then we also see what you're doing and we can also repost them on our channels.
Yeah. And maybe one last little clarification. Maybe you are using right now the YouTube chat. We are not seeing the YouTube chat in here, so it would be really helpful if you use the QR code, or you go directly to the link which you find in the Discord channel, because then we have the opportunity to put also this notification or the question on the screen. But as long we are waiting for new questions, I come with my questions. So okay. I was thinking what could be really interesting and insightful for our participants is, after you conducted so many hackathons, what do you think is the most important thing as a team when you are working in a hackathon? Inside of the teamwork, what should you think about? What should you do as a team?
I think it's really, and especially in these online sessions where we usually only see kind of the upper part of your body. So there is so much lost in kind of body language and the interaction. So if you look at the research, only 7% of communication is actually the spoken word. Everything else is kind of other cues that we get, and a lot of that gets lost in the digital world. So from my perspective, really looking into those team dynamics, and then if you notice that there are tensions in the team, just address them early, because you need, for such a short event, you need a lot of energy and you need to pull together as a team. So try to make these personal connections. Also take the time for the warm-up that we have right now with your team to also kind of get to know each other a little better, especially if you kind of have not worked before. And see what you need, and also talk to your coaches if you feel that you need a break, because your energy and the work that you're putting in is the most important thing for this hackathon, right? So that is one of the biggest things that I would look for. It's really the team dynamics, making sure the team is happy and engaged and feels like they make good progress. And be very open about that. Any other points that you would mention?
Yeah, definitely. So what I realized in the hackathons I conducted in the past is that the main work you're doing after all the discussions. So sometimes I'm seeing teams, they discussing for ages, but then when they start the work, most of the things they discussed, they are not working on anymore. So you can reach really fast results if you just directly start working, use the mural board, or later when you are going to the prototype, make it directly tangible. Do less discussions, because when you create something, you immediately, and while this process of making it tangible, there's coming new ideas. And this is like really the fast way to come to the results, which will lead you also maybe to winning the hackathon.
Yeah, and that's a good point that we have not mentioned in the introduction. It's kind of design thinking we've shown you as kind of a process, but it's actually a lot of iterations. Sometimes you do your prototype, you test it with a user, and you fail miserably because they don't get your idea, it just doesn't work for them, you're totally out of their context, and then you have to go back to the drawing board. Either you have to conduct additional research, or you at least have to look at the other ideas that you had, and you have to start over with prototyping. And that's why speed is so crucial, and we've seen events where teams really failed at that stage, and they pivoted and they did something else in a very short time. In the end, they actually won, even so they had to do a lot of the work double. So get something done very quickly. Also, if you don't have enough, you can also kind of show the stuff to us, show it to your coach, maybe show it to a neighboring team in another challenge if you fear the competition, because they will not directly compete with you. So use that to get feedback very early, scribble the stuff on a piece of paper, take pictures of it if you wish, and then test it, and then learn from that and iterate, because the worst thing is I think it was Eric Ries what was the saying, that is the worst thing is building somebody that nobody wants, and if you figure that out after 6 months of development, that's really, really bad. So you better figure it out after half an hour scribbling and showing it to somebody.
Yeah, and there is a new question. Wonderful, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so please suggest for me some softwares which are good to design my ideas. There are tons of online tools, and we have some on the board in the prototyping. We didn't show that this morning, but there are links to Marvel, I think, and
I have an idea.
Yeah.
Can we type in, this is now improvising, can we type in an own question so we can put the link as a question, showing that up?
Okay.
Wonderful. So there's Marvel. I think it is www.marvel.app.
Yeah, it's Marvel like the comics. Marvel.app.
I think so, right?
Okay.
I think so.
We're not sure, but you will find
Yeah,
it if you
just maybe make it one by one, because otherwise maybe it is not shown completely. Just if you send it now, this marble.app. So, and we show this as a first tool, and then we make the second tool.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So let's see. So we have Marvel. Then.
Can you put the question away?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So now you should see in a couple of seconds, or right now, Marvel.app. This is a really great tool to make click prototypes. So you have the opportunity to go to this website, or even do it like directly on your phone to create links between pictures, and later on you can really click on this specific links in the picture to come to the next picture. And this is like how you create a click prototype. You can do it for smartphone apps, or for wearable apps, or even like for websites. So for desktop apps, a really great app. And what else do we have?
One point to Marvel, that is also they bought one of my favorite apps, which is called Prototyping on Paper, so POP. And you still find that, I think, in the App Store, but it should be included in Marvel. That allows you just to snap pictures of sketches that you do on paper on the phone and link them. So you can basically create multiple screens. You just have them on paper, but you still can use them as if you would be using the phone. So the app will show up on the phone, and you can click all the links, so you can actually navigate through a sketched app, which is really cool for very quick prototypes. Then of course there is Figma. It's one of the very favorite sketching tools, and they do a lot also with now we're kind of in between.
Can you
I think I can push this one up. Okay. So this would be Figma. It's also an online prototyping tool, and there is something very similar to it. It's Adobe Experience Designer, Adobe XD, and they all have the advantage that there is a free entry version. Okay, send that one up, so I will push that one up, and yeah, okay, mark that as answer. So that's Adobe XD. So I think that's.
You can also
enough.
Use this also, but you could also use Mural by itself, because what you can do in Mural is you can also create links between objects. So with that you can also use, like, for instance, the icon library of a smartphone. You put there like different buttons and the interface, create a second iOS icon or a smartphone icon, and you link one button to this new icon. And with that you can also create, even in Marvel, a click prototype. To be honest, it is of course not designed to make click prototypes, but it's still working. But if you want to use, for instance, Marvel, it's even better. But if you are now even familiar with Mural, you could use Mural as well. And I think we have one last question before.
Yes, and I think that is a good segue into going back to work, because the question is here currently, what is the way you are using to know when the relief items arrive? And I think that is not something that we can answer from our kind of method and design thinking background, because that's a topic specific question. So I would ask the person who wrote that, put the same question in the Discord question channel, and then somebody from the team can respond that. And it's also a very good question that you might address to an expert. And maybe it's also an open question that is not solved yet. So, and then it might lead to a way to, okay, how can we get quicker feedback on that the stuff that we're sending out actually reach the beneficiaries.
So the next question, and I think we can still cover it, right?
Yes. Yeah, we're in the warm-up, but I think can do it.
This one last question.
Yeah.
We give to you.
And we have 15 minutes for a warm-up. So.
Okay.
Can you suggest something for each member of the team to make team build better? Yeah, a lot of kind of personal connections is trust, and a way to build trust is opening up. So that would be my advice. Any other?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there are several team building exercises what you can think about, right? I mean, just when you start today working, just make a check-in together, right? You can think about like asking like an initial question, how you start the day, and you're just opening up, really be honest, how you come to this hackathon and to your team, right? I think some of you already also talked about what are your strengths inside of your team itself, what goals you try to achieve. These are things definitely you can do. Maybe you have also other check-in questions for them. Do you have something in your mind what they can talk about before they get to work?
Yeah, so there is a nice tool called Check-in, which kind of gives you random, and it's called, I can maybe also send that. I guess the coaches already know that. It's called check.in, very strangely written. Like it's written like a German-speaking English, and that gives you kind of trigger questions that you can answer in the team or individually. And if you don't like the question because you think it's whatever too personal or it just doesn't relate to it, you can just reshuffle and get another one. So that's a nice one. But you also can kind of use the theme of the hackathon, right? So we are in the disaster relief area, so you could, and that's kind of really going a little deep, and it might need a little more than 10 minutes. So if you want to share in your team, okay, what was the biggest disaster in your life, but that is kind of the advanced version. I would do that if you have an extensive team building and have the time for it, because that would take more time. Yeah, but things like this really create a bond. But easy things like would also be hobbies, because then you have something in common to talk about, and you might find some very interesting aspects about people that you get to know that you would not have expected from them. So I met I got very funny insights from that.
And I think with the last comment, we can go to our warm-up and we will explain it. But really, thank you for this comment. We will be talking about everybody's favorite food.
The team is hungry already. Okay, that's a good signal that we need to go on here. And I think we hopefully also find some time for breakfast when you are having your lunchtime. Okay, with that, I'll send you back, right?
Going back,
cut down the stream, and
exactly.
we'll get now back into your teams on Discord, and keep on working, and have a great day, and have a good time prototyping. At the end of the day, you will find me or find us on Discord with the changes that we did yesterday now, and Lara is also back now coaching, and Lakshmi is back. So now we have one dedicated coach per team. So for today and tomorrow, with all the teams established now, I think we are gonna sail much more smoothly than with the arrangements for the team that we had to do impromptu yesterday. Have a good day, and see you tomorrow morning.